Cheating student thought he had me fooled. Fell right into my trap. Posted by CMSRN. If you like these stories and want to see more, please like and subscribe. So, I am a cancer researcher and a guest professor at a university's School of Medicine, teaching my specialty, imaging. Besides the usual acquisitions of medical images using MRI, CT, etc. Imaging has a lot to do with image processing. Some days I am just a glorified programmer/IT guy. And as anyone who has ever programmed anything will tell you, coding is a very personal activity. With enough experience, you can tell who wrote what just by looking at the lines. I am also in my late 20s, and I am not native to this country, and it's my first year as a guest professor. So, some students look at me as this inexperienced, gullible, foreign guy. As part of my module's grading, the students submit 2 reports that weigh 10% of each of their final grades. These reports are about image processing, and they have to code a fair bit. As usual, some students make an effort. Some do minimal work, and then some cheat/copy. As I was grading the reports, I noticed a small group of students who found reports from previous years online and copy plus paste those reports, changing only their names. It was a facepalm moment because those reports were not even good and had a lot of errors. You see, to establish a baseline for my grading, I browsed previous year's reports, so I knew what to expect from the students of this module. Naturally, I graded them all with 0 and kept working my way through grading the reports I had left. Meanwhile, the students casually asked me in the halls how were the reports. Of course, I can't comment on that until I release the grades. One time, this dude, who has copied from another report, 98% match on plagiarism checker, asks me when will I release the grades and comes with this story that he worked hard on his reports. That his exam hasn't gone so well, and he is hoping that the grade on his reports is enough to get a pass. I mean, submitting another person's work as your own is very wrong, but it was an online submission and impersonal. Right now, he was just lying through his teeth and to my face. I could feel my blood boiling, but I didn't lose my composure and decide to come up with a plan. I knew that my exam was the last exam of the semester and that after that, the students usually go home or have family vacations while they wait for their grades to be posted online. So I graded the exams and input their grades into my Excel with their report grades. 4 students had 0 due to cheating on their reports, and if I graded their reports with 50% of the max grade, they would barely fail the module. But they would fail nonetheless. So, it was on. In order to be fair, I bumped everyone else's grades. A bunch of people with miserable reports ended up barely passing because of my grade bump. But, even though their reports were bad, it was their own work and not copied from anywhere. You see, students are entitled to make an appointment to review their grades after publishing and before the grades are locked for the year. Basically, they sit with me, we go through their exam and reports, and their goal is to convince me to give them extra points in the hope that they pass the module. I knew the cheaters would come. After all, they think they fooled me once already, and they still have half the report's points to bargain for. So I just waited for their emails. Lo and behold, they write me the same day the grades go online, saying how hard they have worked on their reports and that they don't understand how they only got 50%. And that they wanted an appointment. I was ecstatic. Sure, let's review your grades. Do you remember that my exam was the last one? Well, they were already on vacation. Some very far away. And begged me for an online appointment. No can do. University policy. Moreover, you have 3 days to show for your work. Otherwise, the grades are locked, also the university policy. So here they come, cutting their vacations short and catching planes. Some spend hours in buses and trains to make it on time. I know what many of you are thinking. They come, I show them the plagiarism checker results and reveal that I know that is not their work and send them on their way. Well, I considered it, but I had something better in mind. Those appointments usually take 10 minutes, I show them their work with my notes on what's wrong/right, and they try to find some inconsistencies in my grading and bargain for more points. I ain't giving you the opportunity. Ha ha ha. So, one by one, they sit with me individually. And I go through their exam and reports. Remember that they copied the reports? And copied bad ones, with a lot of errors. I ask questions, lots of them. Why did you do this? What is your reasoning for this? They don't know. It's not their work. They mumble random stuff because they don't know what to answer. Point by point, mistake by mistake, I explain why it was wrong, how it should be done, lecturing the same material that they had already been lectured on during class. I make it long, and I make it boring. I make it painful. I spent hours with each one of them throughout those 3 days. They always came with the same, "I worked so hard on this," and a little smirk on their face because they thought that it should be really easy to fool me, the gullible foreign again. As the hours go by and I am walking through the errors one by one, I could see their expression change. Little by little, their hopes of passing being slowly crushed. And when they realized that I knew they cheated and I wasn't going to give up any extra points. At this point, they tried to cut short their appointment and leave. I wouldn't let them. "We need to finish the review of your grades, it's university policy," and I just kept going, extending their misery for one more hour or two. It was legal to torture, plain and simple. It was glorious. In the end, every single one of them left with a crushed soul look in their eyes and a fail in my class. They knew that I caught them, that I baited them, and they fell for it. They ruined their vacation and their family vacations, spent money to travel back and forth, wasted precious summertime, got bored to death and have nothing to show for it. And next year they will have to repeat the module. With me. I hope you enjoy your summer. See you next year. Edit. This was the EU, not the US. It took the matter to my boss, who is their course director, and he told me to not report them because the university wants to avoid any kind of legal action at any cost. I couldn't even accuse them of cheating. Just some things I think I should have said. Oh, and loving the hate in some comments BTW, some are just name calling, but others are very classy. Although there are a few that are way too long to read, so I am sorry for that. Edit 2, also, for those worried about my bump the grades thing. I made a judgment call to bump some grades of some students who had a good exam, and their report grade was pulling them down. They clearly knew the topics and studied, and their report was just not very good. So I decided that given that if it wasn't for the report, they would pass, to bump it a bit to allow them to pass. Most of them went from failing at 49% to passing at 50% on their overall final grade. And now for the top comments. In my country, if you are caught copying something, you automatically fail, and you are banned from enrolling in any of the universities for the next 3 years. These students got off lightly. So, I'm not familiar with other universities' policies, but at my school, there was a zero-tolerance policy. Get caught cheating/plagiarizing and get kicked out of school, no exceptions. Because of this, I never even considered cheating or plagiarizing. I can't imagine several students all from the same class deciding to cheat in such an obvious way. That sounds insane. I don't know how you had the patience to take time out of your day to lecture students who you know had no chance of passing. And now for our next story. Post office said I couldn't file a complaint about the mailman not trying to deliver my packages because I had no proof, so I got proof. Posted by Cauliflower 3135. For context, in my country, if your package gets sent through the National Post Service, you're basically screwed. It takes 200 years, and they never actually deliver it. I don't know how it is in other countries, but here they are supposed to ring the doorbell if the package doesn't fit the mailbox, and if you don't answer, they leave a notice, and you have to go and pick it up all the way at the post office. The problem is that my mailman doesn't even try to deliver them, he just leaves the notice without even ringing the doorbell and leaves. I've had to pick up nearly every package I've ordered because of that. Well, the last time was my last straw. I was obviously home because of the pandemic, and suddenly I received a call that immediately hung up. It was so fast that my phone didn't even ring, just showed up as a missed call. No doorbell, nothing. I suspected it was the mailman and ran to the door only to find him inside the truck, looking straight at me before driving off. Well, I was pissed and called the post office to file a complaint. I explained the situation, and the lady told me that I couldn't file a complaint because they are only instructed to ring the doorbell, and calling is optional, and I couldn't prove that he didn't ring it. At first, I just avoided using them again at all costs, but the other day I ordered something and chose a delivery company from the ones listed on the website. Apparently, that company hires the National Post Service to deliver for them here. When I found out, I basically stalked the tracking info for days. It was about 2 weeks late, lol, until one day late at night, it said it had arrived in my country, which usually means that the next day it's going to be delivered. The next day, I woke up at 7 a.m. to check. My suspicions were correct, and it said, out for delivery. I quickly grabbed something to eat, got in my car and parked right outside my house. Then I waited. And waited. And waited. 0.6 hours in total until I finally saw the post truck pulling over. I grabbed my phone to record and watched as the mailman opened the door, already either the notice in hand, slid it inside my mailbox and turned around. I got out of the car and said, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" He didn't even look at me and said, "Just delivering packages, miss." Then I stood there as that a hole grabbed his phone to call me and quickly hung up. I smiled as I took my phone out of my pocket and sarcastically stated, "Oh bummer, you didn't even give time to reach for the phone." He literally turned white, lol. Couldn't even speak. I continued, "Now can you give me my package please?" He quickly opened the truck, almost tripped and took out my package. See, wasn't that easier than your whole scheme? He finally manages to say, "Sorry miss." I turned around and left. He probably thought he got lucky I didn't say anything else, but little did he know that I sent the video to the post office via email attached to my complaint. Well, let's just say I have a new mailman. This one tries to leave 1 second after ringing the doorbell, but at least he rings. TLDR, mailman won't ring the doorbell or call and just leaves with my packages so that I have to pick them up at the post office. They said I couldn't file a complaint because I had no evidence, so I spent 6 hours parked outside my house just to record him leaving without even trying. Edit. For everyone commenting about paragraphs, I'm sorry, I wrote this on my phone, and it kept deleting. This was my 5th time writing the whole text. Give me a break. Edit 2, okay, I just wanted to clarify some things. I didn't expect this to get so much attention, wow, or for everyone to have awful delivery experiences. Haha, one everyone saying I should just install a camera. That would work, yes, but then he would leave with the package, and I would have to go pick it up. I wanted my package that day. 2 for everyone saying I got him fired, and that's not something to brag about. Firstly, as much as it isn't his fault and he's just following orders, he was not nice or professional. He literally saw me at the door one time and drove away while looking at me. Secondly, we don't even know if he was actually fired. I might be wrong, but I think here, the regular mail carriers are considered public employees, which means they rarely get fired, just transferred to a different job. 3 paragraphs / my English / all of that. I'm sorry, as I said before, this was my 5th time writing this because it kept deleting the text. I was also writing this while doing other things, so I apologize. English is not even my first language, geez, relax. And now for the top comments. This is amazing, good on you for making a point to get your proof. 6 hours well spent emo. In the US, we get our deliveries, but they are often flung to our doorstep like frisbees. They do it here too. Ontario, Canada. Not with the mail, but FedEx and UPS. Their mo is to just jump out the truck with the notice, toss it on the door and drive away. I kind of did the same as you one day. I plunked myself down on a chair just inside behind the screen door, tint on windows due to facing the sun all day, with my laptop, and just as he walked up to the door with the slip, I dropped down the sliding window and said that notice sure doesn't look like the package I ordered. He went back, grabbed my package and came back saying absolutely nothing further. It still happens routinely, though, especially on late day drops when the driver is looking to just end his shift and puts notices on the last bunch of houses. What's your say on this? Do you have a similar story? Comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe.